Listen, I've never had any problem expressing my opinions, but what we're doing here is bigger than that. These are conversations that need to be had in an unfiltered way. Drag racing's all I've ever done. It's all I care to do. I respect the history, I appreciate how far we've come, but I want more for this sport, and I'll fight for it. It's uncut, it's unfiltered, this is the show of shows. The biggest names in drag racing. No holds barred. This is the great American motorsport, drag racing. Prove me wrong, I'll wait. Hey gang, Wes Buck here, Drag Illustrated Magazine, checking in. It is Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. Hope you're doing well out there, and we are seemingly losing some audio, but I think I fixed it. Fantastic. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Remember, just stop what you're doing. Do your boy a favor, please. Click like, click subscribe, help us spread the gospel of drag racing. Means the world to us, makes a huge difference on the channel. So thank you very much for doing that and joining our little drag racing family. We got a hell of a show for you guys today. We're going to have Mark Beatty from REDLINE Oil coming on here in just about a half an hour. Then immediately following that, we'll be joined by the man of the hour right now, fresh off a huge win at the U.S. Street Nationals presented by M&M Transmission, race 2 of the Drag Illustrated Winter Series presented by J&A Service, the one and only Stevie Jackson. We're going to break down his big win, talk points, talk competition, talk all things pro-modified drag racing, and we've obviously got a hell of a 2026 upon us, and I'm kind of excited for the grand finale. Kind of excited. That is actually a gross understatement. If it was this weekend, I'd be completely okay with it. I am so fired up for the World Series of Pro Mod, the 7th go-round of the World Series of Pro Mod, a race no man or woman has ever won twice. The big one, the $150,000 to win, biggest, richest Pro Mod drag race in the history of the known universe, coming up February 26th through 28th, 2026 at the iconic Bradenton Motorsports Park. Absolutely fired up for that event. But I tell you, before we get too far along, we're missing JT for a minute. He swears he's coming, tardy as usual. He's talking to his insurance adjuster, something about the low-speed crash he had over the weekend. So anyways, old Murder Tundra is doing all right, but he's sounds like he's getting a new truck. But we do have my brother in arms, the one and only Mike Carpenter in the house. What's up, Mike?
What's up, man?
Man, just rocking and rolling. You know the deal, swinging and ducking. You know, it's been an interesting week. We had a hell of a time just getting home from Bradenton.
Yeah, I feel like I just got home, and then we've been in the snow and ice for like a week. This is like the first day that it's starting to melt, and maybe these kids can go back to school. It's like COVID. Funny. It's like COVID all over again. We're on day 8 of no school, and we're losing it over here big time.
Bro, it's kids need routine, eh? Like. Yeah. Everybody, I think, needs routine. I know that I function better when I'm in my routine, and having it completely obliterated by this snowstorm, which may or may not have been created by the government. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole just yet, but this could be something. I think this
that's a different. That's called the Joe Rogan show or podcast, whatever. Well, we need a big cigar.
Walk outside, look up, and tell me if those are chemtrails or not. I mean, I'm just saying.
It's just gray and cloudy here, so I don't know.
Well,
and we don't have chemtrails.
I'm seeing chemtrails. I don't know what's going on, but it doesn't look like a normal jet stream from a plane. I think we're being poisoned, and I think they're changing the weather. But I digress. Anyways, it's been a wild deal, dude. We didn't get home till Wednesday. You didn't get home till Friday, I think.
No, I got home Wednesday. Oh, you got home before I did. Yeah, we went to Universal.
Well, I was trying to leave that out, dude. I was trying to paint a picture of a burdensome task and a real uphill battle, but you throw
the race was, and then we got some fun in, so that's what it's all about.
Yeah, man, it's but what
me and Jason Harris actually pulled the same move and didn't know it. It flew the wife and kids down last second. He did the exact same thing. He lives like 2 hours north of me, and we're all seeing that forecast, and we're like, oh, we got the wife and kids at home. We're down here racing. This is not going to go well. So audible, fly the kids down there, and then I don't know what they did the rest of the week. But anyway, that's what good dads and husbands do, man.
Oh yeah,
you already
man,
had you already had your squad down there.
Yeah, I don't like to leave home without them, to be honest. If it's
yeah, we know Alicia won't. She's probably, if we move the camera 6 inches,
she ain't
see
here.
Alicia.
She ain't here.
She ain't,
she ain't here.
Where's she at?
She's I don't know, at a doctor's appointment or something. I don't know what she's doing.
Somebody check on Alicia.
No, we're kind of joined at the hip. We're best friends, you know. And Sophia, my little girl, she's not far off. Like we run better as a pack. Like we just everybody's happier.
Sometimes it's one less thing to worry about, you know.
It is, man. I mean, and it's just Sophia. I want Soph to see what we're doing. You know, like I want her to be a part of this. I want her to know the people. Like I don't need her to love drag racing, right? Like, and I'm hoping that happens over the course of time, but she's already fallen in love with the community. Like she loves the people. Like she's not eager to go up on the starting line or be around loud cars. You know, she's pretty sensitive with sounds and whatnot, but she appreciates what's happening. And she loves seeing everybody. Like she loves, you know, people knowing her name and people giving her hugs and saying hi and whatnot and going to the party in the pits on Thursday night. She loves that. Going to Yard House after the races are over and seeing a bunch of people we know. She loves that. So I'm glad that they're able to be a part of it, you know, because for a long time when we were just getting this going, it was tough because I would tell them, like, I remember 20 years ago, 10 years ago. I mean, obviously that was before Sophia was born, but like even early in my relationship with Alicia, like, sometimes it just wasn't cost effective to bring them. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm probably rooming with somebody or sleeping in somebody's trailer.
I mean, it's still not cost effective, but
no,
you know, you do get to a point where it's like you're running out of years, right? I mean, the years go fast, and if you're gonna, you know, practice what you preach, bring your family to the track, expose them to this stuff, it's got to start at a certain age. And I was big on that. I even told my dad, like, because he was thinking about winding down his driving career even before he had his stroke. And I was like, I want you to at least keep racing long enough for Christian to understand what you do, what we've done, and be a part of it. Unfortunately, that did get cut shorter than we wanted it to. But even then, it was like, that was part of the decision to kind of keep going at that point, and now we miss it. And I miss not, you know, I'm glad we can bring Christian to the races like we did, because if not, you know, I don't really have another way to get him exposed the way we would have. So it is an important thing that really passes you by quickly.
It does pass you by quickly. And it's like, I think about how many memories that I have, like, and how many life experiences that I have that all happened at the drag strip. You know, and I think about how they serve me to this day. You know, I feel young and vibrant or whatever, but like, I feel like I've been around the block too, you know, and it's like drag racing and the life of going drag racing has taught me so much about dealing with adversity, struggling, like, you know, enduring, you know, extended struggles, you know what I mean? And then having those breakthrough moments and what those breakthrough moments feel like. And I mean, all these things, learning how to be around different people, learning to problem solve rapidly, learning to challenge my own belief systems. I mean, there's all these things that I've learned from the drag strip. And I think it's important our kids are around it. And I say this a lot, but I mean it. Like, it's such a great place for kids because it's just chock full of really good people that are going to lend a helping hand, that if a kid's lost or if a kid falls down and stubs his toe or scratches his knee, like, someone's going to help pick him up. Someone's going to grab him and try to help them. And it's a great environment. And I'm glad that our kids are getting to be a part of this stuff, because we're going to look back on this someday and be like, man, do you remember when we were throwing those pro mod races where there was like 80 pro mods showing up?
Yeah.
You know, like, I
mean, as cool as it is competing on the track, them getting to see what we do with the winter series is critical. And as we, you know, we should be as proud of that as these racers are going out and competing and bringing their kids or whatever. Cause it's, you know, I mean, you got to just take a step back and look at what's going on here. And we just came off another incredible event at the US Street Nationals. And we can talk a little bit about that before we bring on Mark, but it's just the momentum. At some point you start to think, all right, you know, something's going to happen. This momentum is going to start going the other way, but man, it just continues. One race builds on the other, and US Street was just, you know, hit another gear. And then now we've got the centerpiece of the party, or the biggest of the three, coming up to build on as well. So man, it's just, dude, really a blessing to see it continue this march that it's on.
I think I said this during the drivers meeting or one of the chip draw meetings, but it was like, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And I think that our why is painfully obvious. Like, we love this group of people and we love this sport. And of course, we're trying to make a living, right? We're trying to do all those things. We're trying to grow our business, but we also recognize that a high tide lifts all boats. And the bigger we can grow the entire industry, the more there is for us, you know, the more opportunity that exists for us. And I was telling actually Jesse Howard, a rising country music star that sang the national anthem for us Sunday. He's got some great tunes on YouTube. Check him out, Spotify as well. And I've quickly become buddies with this old boy. I met him through Kai Kelly, who he came down and hung out with Kai Kelly at the US Street Nationals. But I was talking to Jesse last night, and I told him, he asked me, like, don't you want to race? Like, do you want to drive a pro mod or whatever? And I said, dude, for as long as I can remember, every day when I woke up, I was trying to find a way to race pro mod. Like, that's what like, everything else was a vehicle to get me to that point, like where I could go pro mod racing. But I've kind of realized that what I love the most is being the circus master. Like, I like throwing the party. Like, I don't have to play beer pong. I can just be the one that threw the party where the epic beer pong game breaks out. Right. And that's, to me, I love this role that we've kind of landed at. I mean, it was always like in the back of my mind that this is what we were going to do, but to be here and to be now and be able to kind of put our touch on all of these various things, like, I just feel blessed beyond measure, man, because again, I remember sitting in the grandstands at Eddyville Raceway Park in Oskaloosa, Iowa, and I saw pro mod drag racing for the very first time in the early 90s. And I've been infatuated ever since. My dad bought me every shirt that we could find at the place. I've still got them all hanging in my closet. It's like, and to think now, 30 years later, that we are in the thick of this whole deal and inarguably have put together the best collection of pro mod drag racers in history, the best to ever do it, all at one place at one time. It really is surreal, man. And that's a great segue just to talk about, we talked about this. Could we one up what we saw at the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals presented by Motion Raceworks that kicked off the 3-race Drag Illustrated Winter Series? And we both kind of had some reservations, like, holy moly, a 60 flat bump spot. I don't know how much crazier this can get. Sure as shit, we roll into the US Street Nationals, and after the very first round of qualifying, you and I powwow in the motorhome and go, this deal is going to be brutal. It's going to be fast. We're going to see an all 50 field. And here we go, bro. I mean,
it was really that second round of qualifying.
Yes, it was.
On Friday morning, which me and Brian kept talking about in the booth. It was just I think we came out of that session, the second session, one car away from an all 50s field after the second session. And so, at that point, it's just going to be insane. And even with the weather, which was hotter than it normally is for that race, and I believe it was hotter than it was at Snowbirds, we still saw the bar lowered again as far as the bump spot and number one qualifier and everything. So these guys, it doesn't matter what you do or what the conditions are. These guys are throwing everything they've got at it. And that's something we'll definitely have to talk to Stevie about when he gets on here. But I think you're just seeing everybody, all the testing that led up to US Street. We talked about that. So some of these teams were there for weeks. You saw that kind of play out because these, no matter the situation, no matter whatever rule changes, whatever gets thrown at these guys, they come out and overcome that within a couple of passes, it seems like. So they're the level of skill and the level of equipment, the maintenance, the routines, all the stuff that it takes to do what these guys are doing, I think gets lost when we've got 80 of them there and they all are doing their thing, and there's very few aborted passes, there's very few oil downs, all these things that we talk about. It gets lost, like how hard it is. I talked to Bob Harris after they went that, what was it, a 55 with a 8 or whatever it was, a couple thousandths behind Jimmy Taylor after that Thursday night run. He was like, 1,000. He said something to the effect of, you just don't understand how hard it is to even go a 355. And we're out there talking about thousands separating these guys. And we're talking about, the entire field being in the 50s. And you've got one of the top teams out there just reminding you how hard it is to go a 355. And these guys are just ripping them off left and right. And you sort of lose perspective. And sometimes we got to stop and go, like, the stuff that we're seeing, the tightness of these fields, the level of competition, the reaction times. We talked about Stevie's string, his 016 average through eliminations. So the performance we're seeing across the board is just absolutely unheard of.
I mean, to me, you look at the fact that 5 guys went in the 350s: Isaias Rojas, Bo Butner, Robin Roberts, Kyle Dvorak, and Aaron Stanfield all went 359 and all went home on Saturday night. And it's just, to me, that's a brutal thing. And that's part of the continued evolution of the Drag Illustrated Winter Series as we, do the work required to bring the partners in to make sure that we're able to house more and more of these cars, because we want to maintain this level of energy and enthusiasm. And I think, putting together the Drag Illustrated Wildcard Shootout, $25,000 purse for our 33 through 64 qualifiers is going to be fantastic. Get more people participating in race day. I know that's been tough for a lot of our racers throughout the first 2 events, and I totally understand it. And it's a conversation that you hate to have, but it's this double-edged sword of, you don't want to lose the juice and the excitement that surrounds qualifying for this field. I mean, we get reactions from racers and wives and team members and crew guys and everything else that is so over the top for simply qualifying for this event that I do not want to lose that. But at the same time, I recognize that all these guys are killers. And like a Justin Swanstrom, who can go 362, 363 and go 00 on the light, he's going to go a few rounds. You know what I mean? He's going to surprise some people. And I don't want guys like that, that are just early in their program's development and they're not quite there yet and need more time, need more testing, need more race day experience with this, at this level. That's going to take a little bit of time. And I don't want to see them throw in the towel, before they get where they're going,
It's
so
a delicate
I'm excited
dance, though. I mean, that really is exciting. That was huge news. It was very well received. It's something that we were excited to unveil as a special piece of the World Series of Pro Mod. We're talking about things for next year for Snowbirds and US Street. That maybe is something we'll be able to add in some form, but we do have to have some things to make this kind of still the granddaddy. We've got the 150,000 to win. We've got all kinds of bonuses. We've got a points championship on the line. All these things now that to have the second chance race effectively is another great addition. But you're right that as soon as everyone says, oh, you should just have a 64 car field. But as soon as you do that, you do take away that. You open the show talking about having your kids around and seeing the struggle, but then seeing when you overcome that struggle, the reward of that reward of making that 32 car field is huge, because then we go into the chip draw and it all gets shuffled and all you've got to do is make that field. So to see people's excitement and everyone shooting for that, that's kind of a secret of how we get these competitive fields and how we get these numbers. If you open it up to 64, people start, okay, well, I just need to get in at 64. There's only 68 cars. You start to really change the dynamic of everything and you lose a lot of that juice. So we'll never go to a 64 car field, but to be able to offer us a very expansive second chance race like this, I think is a step in the right direction. So it's always something. Sending these guys home is brutal, but at the same time, that brutality is what makes it special.
I couldn't agree more, man. We have to be careful of talking out of both sides of our mouths. It's like everybody wants it to be this insanely competitive thing, but then, in the moment when things aren't looking good, and hey, I'm on the outside looking in and it's hot today and I'm probably not going to be able to make that, all of a sudden, then it's like, oh, everybody should get to race. It's like, well, I honestly think that that's part of the battle that the NHRA is fighting right now, is that qualifying by and large is irrelevant. You know what I mean? Most of these events, if you show up, you're going to get in the field, right? There's just not a large inventory of those cars. And I think that, it's obviously a manageable issue, and they have done a great job of bringing some new teams in, and we see the right things happening. It's just going to take a little bit of time. But again, I think that's the magic when there's all these guys and you don't know who's going to make it in the field. I don't know about you, but the tension and the electricity in the air at, during final qualifying at these events, I've never felt anything like it. I'm clearly biased. I will own that. But am I wrong? It's like everybody's walking on eggshells. Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah. And it changes throughout the session because you've got so many cars. It takes nearly 2 hours to run the session, and guys are making changes right up to the last second. What another beauty of it is we don't really have a lot of slowdown. We're running these pro mods as quick as like bracket cars typically at a Sportsman Thursday
Too
at an
fast,
NHRA
in my
national
opinion.
event.
Yeah,
I mean,
too
we're
fast.
running through these guys, and it's just another testament to the quality of the teams. But it's an amazing thing to watch, to be a part of. You go to the chip draw and you feel the electricity in there after that qualifying session, and to see what the matchups become and then how that leads into race day. It's a really awesome deal. So we'll use this opportunity to say, if you haven't been to a Winter Series event, get on the float, go to the winnerseries.com, go to the ticketing page, get your tickets. And of course, if you can't, get your Flow Racing subscription, because I really think the World Series of Pro Mod ticket sales are already off the charts. I feel like this is going to be a sellout event. It's going to be absolute pandemonium. It could go any way. We've seen two huge winners to start the series between Jason Harris and Stevie Jackson, and it's really going to be something to behold. So whatever you do, don't miss it.
Dude, and if you are on the property for any of these events, I encourage you to be a part of those chip draws. We welcome the fans down around the outer perimeter of our VIP pavilion presented by Strange Engineering. And it's electric. The reaction, like the cheers, all the racers cheering for one another, like for making the field. It's just so electric. And I got some cool gifts. I ordered some cool stuff this morning from our friends at Blue Ribbon Awards, Aaron and the gang down there, to like just continue to, how much stuff can I pile on this is kind of how I think about it. Like how many layers can we add to this cake so that whenever they qualify, they're going home with all sorts of stuff, product, all these things, money. I'm super proud of it, brother. I really am. And I did see a couple of questions popping up in the comments. I'm writing them down as we go. Ray, see you. I got you. There was another one. So I'm writing them down as we go. And toward the end of the show, about an hour from now, we'll dive into the Ask Wes segment of the show. So keep throwing your questions in the comments. We appreciate it. And I'll try to get to them as many of them as I possibly can. Before we roll into our first guest of the day, I do want to take a quick second and remind you that each and every episode of the Wes Buck Show is made possible by way of our friends at Stroud Safety. Stroud Safety is known for their top quality racing safety equipment, from drag chutes and seatbelts to fire suits and blankets, all 100% made in America. Log on to StroudSafety.com today and make sure you tell them we sent you. And by the way, Stroud Safety is also the official safety solution of the Drag Illustrated Winter Series. They support our teams throughout the course of events, overnighting stuff, working with our tech department to make sure that they answer the needs of our racers. We have a breakdown at the end of these events where we go through our tech department and ask, like, what did we have the most issues with this weekend? Did we have the most issues with belts, with window nets, with, seat belts? What is it? Parachutes. And then we make sure that those racers have a direct line of communication to the team. John Gentry, Tommy Cunningham, and everybody up there in Oklahoma City at Stroud Safety know how to help and get busy doing so. So check out StroudSafety.com. Thanks to all those guys for supporting my dream and everything we do here at Drag Illustrated. Mike, this has been long overdue. Long overdue. I don't know. I've known this gentleman for, well over a decade, if not two. Long time. We have ran together through a variety of different seasons of our lives. We've shared a lot of time together. We've cried on one another's shoulders. We have celebrated together. We have bitched and moaned together. We've gone through a lot together, and through it all, this gentleman and the brands that he's represented, not only today, but over the course of his entire career, a very decorated career in motorsports, he's had our back every step of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for REDLINE Oil's Mark Beatty.
I don't think I'm going to say anything. I'm just going to say thank you. Have a nice day.
Mic drop.
Mic drop.
I can't top that. But I do have some friendly advice, Mike. That I'm obviously a lot older than y'all. Never say never, because you made the comment you'll never have a 64 car field. Careful.
The only way we'll do that is if we've got 150 pro mods showing up.
But you know what? At the rate you guys are going, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I don't think that's impossible. I
Yeah,
mean,
never say never for sure. But I wanted to put that one out of everyone's mind for now. And you actually, I thought about it before you became. We're going to talk about your increased involvement this year. One of the first things that Redline did was sponsor our Second Chance Shootout at one of the World Series of Pro Mods a couple of years ago. So, that's something that has been close to your mind for a long time.
Well, and
yeah, no
Mark,
question.
we did it together in Denver, if you remember. Like when we were doing the World Series of Pro Mod out in Denver, you had an integral role in that deal from start to finish. And that was one of the things that we were always talking about is like sustainable growth. Like we want to grow. Like I'm not against a 64 car field, but to Mike's point, it seems like you have to be really careful of taking those big jumps and then finding yourselves in a year having to backtrack. And anybody that knows me, especially you two, Wes does not like going backwards at all. So I do think it's one of those things that we have to, I mean, I'm flattered by the comparisons that we get, and we get a lot of people talking to us. I had a conversation earlier in the week, a difficult one. Obviously, there's a lot of rule drama and whatnot. And it was like talking to a team, and it's like, hey, this is our second swing of the bat. And I love the comparisons to NHRA. I'm flattered by those. I love the comparisons to the PDRA, who does an incredible job. The NMCA, who I think has done an incredible job over the course. I mean, it's sad that they're gone, but I think that they were kind of an unsung hero of our space, did an incredible job across the board. And I'm very appreciative of those comparisons. But the reality is that this is our second season. We're not even done with our second season. We're obviously going to add staff. We're going to evaluate, adjust, and act accordingly. So it's flattering, man. But who knows? Like you said, never say never, man. There's no telling. I could see a time not too terribly far in the future where we've got 100 some odd pro mods down there and we have no choice but to qualify 64 of them.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the mystique of what you guys have going on as well, is the fact that it is such I'm going to use the term limited, but it's not. A 32 car field's not limited, but it is a limited number. And I think that adds to, like you guys were talking about, it adds to the excitement, it adds to the pressure, it adds to the atmosphere of everything. So, I was teasing Mike about going to 64, but you guys are spot on. I think a lot of things would have to come into play before that made sense, because then before long, it's what's the next step? Well, just everybody that comes
right?
races, it's and so yeah, I think there's a fine line there, and I think where you guys are at, I mean, obviously, we're incredibly honored to be a part of it. We obviously believe in everything that you guys are doing. Otherwise, as a brand, we wouldn't be there. So it's not broke by any means, my friends. I mean, you guys are revolutionizing drag racing. It's like I listen to you all the time, Wes, and like when you talk about, these are the steps that it takes to build drag racing to a professional level so that we can be in the same conversation as NASCAR or IndyCar and things like that. And what you guys are doing are making that happen.
Thank you, man. I mean, we believe in this, and I believe in this group of people. I mean, I feel like when I walk down through the pits at Bradenton Motorsports Park, I see superstars. When I look around, I see people that should be household names, and we have some that are, but we're growing that roster of household names, and I want these people to be superstars. Like I think about, Jason Harris. In the hardcore drag racing circles, he's been a well-known commodity for years, but I really do feel like it reached a new level after his Snowbird Nationals win. And I want to keep, that's what we need. Like, how can we create an environment, whether it's via eyeballs and attention or competition and pomp and circumstance, where a Jason Harris can go out and get a big couple $100,000 a year sponsor or $1 million a year sponsor and start racing full time. Like that is not an impossibility. Like that is literally, I think we are a few years away from those type of realities, like that we're not far away.
And the companies will be coming to him and them, not the other way around. They're not going to be beating on the doors. I mean, we talk about it all the time, and sometimes people get tired of hearing the Spencer Hyde story, but the truth of the matter is the Spencer Hyde story is phenomenal, right? I mean, first off, even before he won the race there, I mean, Spencer and I'm not saying anything we don't know, is a remarkable young man in so many ways. And so then he goes out and he wins your guys' race. And look at how that's changed his life. Look at how it's changed his dad. Look at how it's changed their family dynamic. Look at, I mean, so it affects more than just the person sitting behind the wheel, right? I mean, the crew chief. I mean, everybody sticks their chest out a little bit more and becomes a known commodity. And it's because they won one of the drag illustrated races, and it's like there's something seriously special about that.
When you talk about I mean, one of the first things that happened with Spencer after he won the race, he picked up a Redline oil sponsorship, and I think you were wrenching on his car at some point. We'll have to go back and look at that.
Yeah.
But and you talk about these brands coming to these guys and having, or Jason Harris being a household name, having a brand like Redline Oil, which is well known throughout all of motorsports, being so associated with Drag Illustrated, and then now, we dropped the big news today, which is the centerpiece of the discussion today, is that Redline Oil is the presenting sponsor for the 2026 World Series of Pro Mod. Just bring that front and center. It's been a long, slow, I don't want to say slow burn, but like Wes talked about, been working with you for all these years, and our involvement continues to increase, with this kind of being the cherry on top at this point. So why now, and why is this the right time for Redline to step up as the presenting sponsor of the World Series of Pro Mod?
Well, first off, from the bottom of my heart, and you guys know that, and JT knows that, and everybody knows that, I believe in everything that you all are doing, right? You guys are cutting the path for so many people. So as a brand, to me, it's like, okay, I'm not always the smartest guy in the room or whatever, but I'm thinking to myself, it's like, if Wes and Mike and JT and Drag Illustrated are leading the way, why wouldn't I want to, lack of better term, ride your coattails? I mean, I'd be crazy not to. And every company out there in the motorsports world or whatever, they ought to be looking at the same deal, going, hey, look, we need to jump on this Drag Illustrated deal, because you're going places, that are phenomenal. So for me to stay in that lane and then, become the presenting sponsor of this race is an incredible honor. I mean, are you kidding me? I'm counting down the days until I walk through the gate, at the race now or whatever. It's like, it's truly is. It's my favorite race. And in my position, I get to go to Supercross races. I mean, you name the race, we get to go to, but it is my favorite race by far. The feeling, the atmosphere, everything about it. And so being the presenting sponsor, well, and breaking news, and if it's okay, Wes, I'll tell everybody. I sent Wes a text earlier, and we're having a bunch of team meetings, and we're continuing this deal. We're going to lock this deal in for a few years with you guys. Redline Oil is not going anywhere. We believe in you guys, and we aren't going anywhere.
I got goosebumps.
Where's the horn? But we're missing JT right now. That's normally, yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
I mean, it's we appreciate it, and your belief, Mark, has meant so much to us. I feel like a lot of these things we've literally done with locked arms. We've done it together, and your belief in us, Mike's right. We've actually turned away a handful of sponsors for the World Series of Pro Mod. People will notice that it was one of the only events that hasn't had a presenting sponsor in the last few years. We have some incredible partners, and we have a lot of great brands that support what we do, but we really wanted it to make sense and be a brand that had the footprint and the activation manpower to do with it what we felt it deserved. And when this opportunity with you and the team at Redline came together, it's like, okay, this is a match made in heaven. This is a brand that sees things the same way we do. We got to get after it. And I can't tell you how much we appreciate it, man. I'm excited to see this Redline relationship continue to expand, and who knows where this whole deal goes in the future, man. I mean, speaking of just the eyeballs and the value that this thing provides to the brands that are involved, we're proud to say that, I mean, back-to-back events are the most viewed drag racing content in the history of flow racing. To me, like, the amount of eyeballs that are on these racers, is unparalleled. There's never been a pro mod or a door slammer drag race that has drawn this kind of attention, eyeballs. We also had this awesome opportunity, courtesy of Flow Racing, to be on Amazon Prime at this past event, which is a relationship that we are working hard and diligently to expand. But I mean, putting drag racing, door slammer drag racing, in 130 million households in North America, like if 0.01% of people watched it, it was worth it, right? I mean, it was just, to me, those are the things. And just kind of piggybacking on what you were saying, being associated with Amazon Prime does not hurt. Like having, you know what I mean? Like having our racers be able to tell their sponsors and the stakeholders in their team, like, hey, listen, this race is going to be on Amazon Prime. It's a difference maker. No matter what the viewership actually is, just perception is reality. So we're really proud of that, man.
I called my mom, I called my cousins, I called my sister, I called everybody. You know, when that came out, I was like, look, go to Amazon Prime. You're not going to believe this. You know, I mean, just how cool this is. And
just seeing the thumbnail on the channel guide,
yeah, I'm like, that was awesome.
Yeah, so cool. Yeah, and that was Trevor Larkin. And so even Trevor called me, you know, and he's like going, Mark, look at this. Yeah, dude, I saw that. You know,
I think, man, we'll have to get the numbers off of it too from Flow when we have our meeting with them. But a lot of people were like, where's it at the next day? Because it was just a Friday only thing. And I really do think a lot of people tuned in that normally don't get to see it. So we're going to talk to the folks over at Flow and see what the plans are for World Series of Pro Mod on Amazon.
But I think, and once again, you know, it's man, you know, it just, you know, my mom says all the time, she says, you're such a goofball when you do these shows. And I know I am, but it's just one of those deals where I just think that it just is another point of what you guys are doing. And I get it, you know, trying to please all the racers, all the combinations. You guys get bloody sometimes, right? I mean, what you're doing is so big and is so unique that you're always going to take punches in the deal. But for the most part, every team that raced that Friday should be so incredibly grateful, and I believe that they are, for what you guys are doing, because when you say your race was on Amazon Prime, the truth is every one of your racers, every one of your participants were on Amazon Prime. That was for them, right? That is a gift, or that is something that they all can wrap their hands around, and things like that. It didn't sell you any more magazines, you know, and it wasn't about y'all. I mean, it was about them, you know. And
100%, man.
And I think that's why I like the pro mod world too, because I do feel that those teams, they're appreciative. You know, it's like when we teamed up with Tommy and for the Redline Oil PDRA, that was a game changer for us, because the PDRA racers are incredibly appreciative, and you have a lot of them in your series and stuff. And so that's just reinforces that even though you guys are taking body punches here and there or whatever, you're doing the right thing, and we're just lucky enough to be a part of it.
Well, hey, we're not, the body punches aren't too bad, because we're normally bad about trying to please everybody and being very upset when even one person is upset with us. And it's something that we've had to learn to get over. And when you're doing something like this, you're not gonna be able to please everybody, but it's also a compliment in a roundabout way that they care enough about it to take it this seriously and be that upset if there's a rule change, or if the weather changes, or the schedule changes, or whatever happens. You almost have to sit back and go, if it didn't mean anything to these people and it wasn't important, they wouldn't care. And so the fact that we have such committed racers, sponsors, everyone that's involved, you know, you have to deal with that, but it's a reminder of how important it is to them, which is the ultimate goal. So we've learned to kind of look at it through that lens, which helps a lot.
It does. It just, you know, I tell everybody, you know, I've said this before or whatever, before big races, what I try and do is sit down and send text to all the members on Team Redline Oil, whatever deal. And it's kind of like, it's always the same thing, you know, go fast, be safe, and enjoy the moments. And so the key one is the very last one, right? Is enjoying the moments. You guys have put together a platform. You guys have put together a series. You guys have put together something that is incredibly special. And I hope all the racers out there, and I hope all the other manufacturers that get on board or whatever, let's enjoy these moments, because how many people talk about, oh, I remember the 64 funny car events way back when. Well, guess what? When you two guys are as old as me, or everybody else that's young, gets to be as old as me, they're going to look back and they're going to say, oh, I remember the Wes Buck Drag Illustrated races back when they were. I mean, hopefully you're still around, but it's always the glory days, right? Type of, and these are without a doubt the glory days.
Well, you have to be
There-
reminded of that, and I want to say, Wes,
do.
before I hand it over to you, that those texts that you send, so many, all we get is complaints, questions, and the serious stuff. But to open your phone and get a positive, encouraging text from you means a lot. I know it means a lot to Wes and our team and everyone else that you send those to, and that it kind of just shows that it goes beyond money, sponsorship, all this stuff, the business side of it. It's a personal thing, and it is even a good moment. When you send those, I'm like, yep, he's right. You need to stop and enjoy this. So
100%.
thank you for sending those. And you're
I'm gonna quit sending them to Brian Loans because he never answers me though. So.
he's a busy guy. He's a busy guy.
He was probably filming. He's every time I talk to him, he's filming something or recording something. But it's like, we do appreciate it, man. And that's something that I tried to, like, anytime we have tempers flare in the highly emotional environment that is a high level drag race, it's like, hey guys, we're not curing cancer. Let's take a deep breath. We are so blessed that we get to do this. Like, we get to go drag racing. Do you know how many people would trade places with us right now? Millions of people would trade places with us right now. So let's just take a deep breath. You know what I mean? And let's try to find a common ground. Let's try to sort this out, because I want people to have fun. Like, that was something that I really gleaned from Sporty Bandemir and his group out at Bandemir Speedways. He would always tell me, Wes, the pass fail on these events really is, did people have fun and are they excited to come back? And as long as that's the case, we're doing our job, because our goal is to create memories. Like, that's why we go so over the top in the winner's circle. I mean, we've had 2 meetings this week about pyro in the winner's circle. You know what I mean? And they're like, and I know everybody's looking at me like I've got 3 heads. Like, why are we talking about winner's circle pyro so much? But it's like, I want to keep leveling up. I know I actually had this conversation with Stevie in the winner's circle. I said, dude, I raced my entire life with my dad, because he was talking about how over the top the winner's circle was. And I go, I think we only won like a couple of times in decades of racing, right? And it's like, that's something that I think gets lost on us. It's like, dude, he may never win one of these races ever again. Like, it's that competitive, and that's no knock on him. That's just the reality of what we're doing here. We've never had anybody win one of these races twice. I mean, this is the 7th running of the World Series of Pro Line. No one's ever won it twice. And there's really not even been anybody close to winning it twice. So it's like, when those moments happen, whether it's, Jason Harris at the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals in December, whether it's Stevie a couple of weeks ago at the US Street Nationals, like, I want those to be core memories. They're never going to forget being hosed down with champagne, almost setting their pants on fire because of the sparklers going off, like all these various things. What World Series of Pro Mod, throwing money in there, they're never going to forget that. And I also think there's a whole world of people on the outside looking in going, I want to feel that feeling. I will do whatever it takes to be the guy that's in that winner circle, that's in those photos, that's chugging the champagne, whatever. And it's the magic of this, man. And I'm really, really proud of how far this has come and what has really been a relatively short amount of time. And man, we can't do it without people like you, Mark. So thank you, brother.
Well, and I, Stevie Jackson is, I mean, he's the one everybody wants to talk to and stuff. So, but I remember, Wes, the very first one up at Denver, remember we went and sat in the stands right outside the Top Eliminator Club, and we were just kind of looking around chatting. I think it was still setup day or whatever. And I looked at you and I says, Wes, my advice for you is just never forget the people that brought you to this point. And I'm really proud of you, Wes, because you never have. I'm stuff. The people you cut your teeth on with, and be it other manufacturers, be it sponsors, be it racers, be it whatever, they're all still standing by your side, and Mike's as well. Mike, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you out. It was just me and Wes having that conversation, but it's the same holds true for you. And so that just speaks volume. That just tells you guys as a group, you're doing the right thing, because you remember who took you to the dance, and they're still right there with you.
It's one of the coolest parts about this whole
Yep.
deal is that I've gotten to do it with my brothers and sisters in arms. Like I told my team, like I'm so lucky to have, I am as excited. Like I'm so lucky that I love, like Mike's my best friend in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like we work together, we obviously do business or whatnot and do these work related things, but there's no one I'd rather spend time with, you know.
He's okay. He's
JT,
okay.
you know, is literally like family, you know. Nancy,
He's not okay.
yeah,
He is
no,
family,
he's not
Wes.
okay.
You can't say
he
like
is family.
He is
He
family.
is
You have to-
family. I mean, Blake, Nate, Craig, I mean, JB and Tom, our whole team, like everybody that's involved with this, John Sears, Mike Washington, Gavin Carter, like that's who I'm excited to go see. Like I'm excited to go see all my racers, but I love that we get to do this together and that we've been fighting this battle together for damn near 20 years now. And I just, it's a real blessing. It really is, man. And I cannot wait to do it again in just a few short weeks. I think we're about to see pandemonium, boys. I really, Mark, I told you this earlier in the week, but like the energy that is building, I think we're about to see absolute pandemonium. There are people that are literally, I got a call last night at dinner from someone that you guys would never even believe, that is rapidly trying to put together a ProMod rent-a-ride program because they want to be, and this is somebody that operates in the highest levels of our sport. And like, that's the type of stuff that's happening. There are people flocking to this. And I'm curious, Mark, like we'll close on this. We appreciate you being so generous with your time. And thank you for being a part of the show. But I feel like there's an opportunity with ProMod. I mean, I'm no doubt that I'm a ProMod stan, right? Like this is my deal. I love ProMod more than anything in drag racing, but I love it all, right? I love all these different disciplines. And I think it's what makes our sport so special is there's a gazillion different ways to get in, right? Get in where you fit in. I mean, we've got buddies that have jet engines and minivans. We got buddies that race little gangsters. We got, you know, bracket racing, big money bracket racing, no prep racing, big tire, small tire, radial tire. I love it all, right? But what I've really seen with ProMod is like the primary vehicle that is obviously not cheap and inexpensive by any means, but still attainable, right? Where a guy or gal can start dreaming and start putting pieces together, maybe, you know, combine efforts with a group of people, and by God, they can go ProMod racing. Do you think that could this become something of or has it already? I'm thinking Chili Bowl-esque. That's kind of really what I've seen in other motorsports to me, where, you know, the Chili Bowl, you get all the big name NASCAR guys. You may get Ron Capps and Cruz Pedregon from NHRA. You're going to get some off-road guy. Like, I wonder if that's not what this ultimately becomes, is like ProMod's the vehicle, but it becomes more of an all-star happening. Because if you already look at it, I mean, we've had Antron Brown compete in these events, Aaron Stanfield, Erica Enders, Dallas Glenn tried his hand at ProMod, the reigning defending NHRA NHRA Pro Stock world champion. I mean, it's already kind of happening. I mean, just imagine a world where Ron Capps is behind the wheel of one of these things. Clay Milliken's behind the wheel of one of these things. Tony Stewart's behind the wheel of one of these things. Cletus McFarland is behind the wheel of one of these things. Tom Bailey is behind the wheel of one of these things. Like, if we can continue bringing these worlds together, like, I think there's some real magic there.
And you are that close. And I think we all realize that you are that close and stuff to doing exactly that. Because it's definitely not entry level,
right?
But it's affordable, right? A couple, 2 or 3 guys can go together, guys or gals to go together and stuff like that, and go compete and be a part of the phenomenal series, winter series or whatever. And so, yeah, I do. I mean, you know, it's like the guys like Scott Palmer, you know.
I failed to mention Scott.
Yeah,
this guy just won an IHRA Top Fuel race
a
few months ago, and here
exactly.
he is down there behind the wheel of a J&A Service ProMod Camaro, right in the thick of things. And it's, I mean, to me, there's some real magic, because bringing all of those guys and gals together with our host of badass ProMod superstars, the Mark Mickeys and Jimmy Taylors and Jay Coxes and Stevie Jacksons and Lyle Barnett's, like bringing those people together, like we're not bringing those people down to our level, right? We're bringing our racers up to that level. And I think there's some magic in that cross pollination, I guess would be the word that's kind of happening there. And that's something. Bo Butner is another one. I mean, this guy's an NHRA Pro Stock champion that can drive anything with wheels on it. Yeah. That had a really Outlaw Nationals, used up an engine in the process and wasn't able to make it for eliminations, and was in the field for a good while at the U.S. Street Nationals before he got bumped out. But he went 359 with an 8, I believe. Like, they've got a car that can compete. So to me, seeing those people involved really speaks to how special this happening is. And we just got to keep pouring gas on it, man. And fortunately, our buddies at Redline are helping us do that.
Yeah, and I'm hitting up Mike Salinas all the time because Mike's got a pro mod car, and it's like, Mike, come on, you put Jasmine in a pro mod car, and
100%.
Let me, come on, let's go. So yeah, I'm trying to do the same thing, obviously for selfish reasons. It's like, I don't want all the Team Redline oil cars I could get out there, but yeah, you're spot on. And,
well, I mean, and the reality is that, like, and I'm not trying to convince someone to switch gears, but for what you spend to race a full season of Top Fuel, you could run a few years with Pro Mod or more. You know what I mean? It's just, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying at all that it's cheap or easy, but there are plenty of teams that are in the mix at these events that don't have full-time crews, that have volunteer help, that have done a lot of this work themselves, built the car themselves, there's a lot of those guys, and they don't get as much, love sometimes as the guys that have a full-time social media manager and a full-time PR department, or, have a bunch of guys working on their stuff, hired hands. But it's a real eclectic group, and I'm super proud of them, man. This group of racers, I would put them up against anybody in the world.
Well, it's the inventory of cars too. You think about it. These cars, they're like you said, it seems like everybody's got one, even if they race a different class, they're just out there. And then it could be something that these guys have and pull out one time a year, put one of these superstar drivers in. And that's been a key to this whole thing too, is that the inventory of Pro Mod. And then if you're going to sit down or make the investment of a few $100,000 at Jerry Bickle or Quartermax or whatever to get one of these things built, a Pro Mod is a great investment. It's crazy to say, but as far as drag racing goes, it's the best investment you can make because there's so many different places you can race it. You can race with us over the winter. You can go run the Redline Oil PDRA series throughout the season. In the summer, there's overseas, there's a ton of stuff going on. And so it really
NHRA Midwest Drag Racing Series, like there's regional series out the wazoo. And if you're feeling froggy, you can take the wheelie bars off of it, strap on a set of radials, and go run Radial Tire Outlaws. Like, it's just it's kind of crazy. I mean, it's like a true multi-purpose drag racing investment. You can race in a lot of different places, no matter where you're at in the country or in the world for that matter. And it's weird to say that. I don't know if those words have ever been said, but together, good investment in drag racing. I don't know.
I'm trying to sell that. Is that you think that's going to work?
I just thought about it. I think
you see all these guys like hawking investments and, on commercials and stuff, buy gold, all this stuff. Man, that's boring. That is stocks. Who wants to buy stocks, dude? Buy a Pro Mod. It's a great investment,
man. Well, my whole takeaway from that, Wes, before I go, is the fact that I'm going to call Mike Salinas tonight and say, hey, Mike, Wes thinks you're a fool. Quit Top Fuel racing and get out your Pro Mod. Is that what I heard? Is that what
that's exactly what I said.
He's heard that before. He's heard that before, I'm sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
That is exactly what I said. Well, Mark, seriously, brother, thank you for your belief. Thank you for your support over all the years. And I can't wait to see what happens next, man. I guess I'll see you in just a few short weeks when the magic happens down at the iconic Bradenton Motorsports Park, and we kick the doors open for the Drag Illustrated World Series of Pro Mod presented by Redline Oil.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you down there.
Got it, brother. Thank you,
Thanks,
Mark.
buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Beatty. Dude, that's been long overdue. I mean, it's been a hot minute. I mean, we've been trying to get Mark on the show for a long time. He does a lot of media, and I'm glad that we finally got him on here. But I'm sure he's got to go to some super important board meeting or something.
Yeah, dude. He's like, he just messes around with us drag racing guys sometimes. He's got important stuff to do.
Yeah, well, hey, before we bring on our next guest of the day, which I am super excited about, it's been a hot minute since we've had this.
Long overdue. Also, I was thinking about this. It's been a hot minute.
Producer Blake was telling me before we started, he's like, dude, it's been like way too long since he's been on here, and I'm like,
you know when it was? When it was? Do you remember like when we relaunched the Wes Buck Show? We had all these graphics, all this production, and we lined up John Force and Stevie Jackson, and then we did a deal. And brought them on together, and Stevie talked to John.
And they talked to each other. I remember that.
That was pretty cool.
That was a moment. It was.
It was.
It's one of those drag racing Kodak moments. Well, real quick, guys, let me take a quick second to remind you and give a quick shout out to our friends at Strange Engineering. For more than 50 years, Strange Engineering has been a household name amongst racers and crew chiefs, supplying hardcore racing and performance street, driveline, and suspension components that flat get the job done. From rear ends and axles to brake struts and shocks, if it's under the car and matters, Strange has you covered. Don't just race Strange. Learn more at strangeengineering.net. Guys, like I said, this is let's not wait any longer. This is a big one. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the man, the myth, the legend, fresh off his huge win at the U.S. Street Nationals presented by M&M Transmission, the one, the only, Stevie Fast Jackson.
You got to give the
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Yeah, we stepped it up.
What's up, boss man? Thanks for taking the time to join us, man. We surely appreciate it. I know you got a lot of stuff going on. But I want to talk about the race, but there's something I'm actually a little bit interested in that I just want to talk about first. Tell us about Steve, the SF1 engine package. Like, knowing you for 100 years now, right? I met you when you were racing an orange trunk Mustang with green flames on it, like wearing the Masters visor. Like, it's hard to believe.
You got to bring the Masters visor back, man.
Dude, I got
missing.
it. Hey, I don't know if y'all noticed, but I wore a visor the entire race at US Street. I never wore anything but a visor.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but I ordered a KTR visor, and I've got it in the top of my toolbox right now. I don't know if you saw that come across the old Shopify shop, but I own one. But I just think it's crazy to think. I mean, I remember back in the day seeing you, Phil and Schuler, in the pits. I mean, I remember when all the radio guys thought you were running nitro and you were wearing a gas mask in the pits and stirring the pot. And I just think back to that. And now I think to this, where we are today, where Stevie Fast Jackson has a massive shop, tons of hired, like, full-time employees, like, and now you're rolled out your own engine program. I'm just curious, like, maybe just riff on, that's got to be somewhat surreal. Like, when I met you, you were driving a tool truck, rocking Red Wing work boots.
Yeah, baby.
You know what I'm saying? Like, do you ever take a minute to, like, I know you're a looking forward guy and what do we got to do next? Only good is our last round. I know all the cliches, but it's got to be surreal to think about where the sport of drag racing has taken you.
Man, it's really, when you talk about it like that, I get emotional because, like, people that operate at a high level never stop and smell the roses. It's one of the Achilles heels of wanting to win, is because you're always chasing that next big thing. I've always wanted to be in the engine business. Making horsepower has always, even back in the days where we used to take our fuel drums and take a Sharpie and write XXX on it and warm the car up with a gas mask so that everybody would think we had nitro. Because if they're looking in the fuel tank, they're not looking up under the back of the car and in the bell housing, right? When we decided about 10 years ago we were going to make this leap, when I decided I was going to make this leap, you guys know me, I'd jump in with both feet. Like, I never looked back. It was about 3 years into doing this deal, I was like, oh no. I was like, I used to get paid $500,000 a year to drive a car, and then I was off for like 50 weeks a year. And I decided that wasn't a good idea. I'm going to go in business. I'm going to get my own race car business. Yeah. So it's very surreal. When we debuted the 4.8 Shadow Series racing engine about 3 years ago, ran really well. I came out and won immediately with it. We had, some improvements along the way. 2.5 years ago, when we decided we were going to do the SF1, my timeline for taking that to market was like 3 years, like 3.5 years. So the way our engine development works, we're the only company that does this. I R&D on my money. You see it run in my car. It wins in my car. It's perfect. I sell it to you, right? Nobody else does that. Well, when we brought this thing out in Indy, we had no plan of releasing it. I mean, it was going to come out. We were going to find out everything that was wrong with it, work on it. It was supposed to get released Q1. It was going to get debuted at World Series of Pro Mod coming up in 3 weeks. Like, that was my timeline. Well, when it comes out, it smashes the track record 3 times and qualifies number 1. Where do you get that kind of media exposure? We didn't have T-shirts. We had no stickers. We had no media campaign. We sold 8 of them in one day. So I'm like, okay, we got no parts. We got inventory. So long story short, we have when you guys see that SF1 run good, it's not Stevie. It's this massive group of people here that their whole job every day is to make power. I'm wearing a fire suit right now because we're on the dyno. We have been every single day this week. We've made 80 dyno pulls this week. It's Wednesday. Our goal is 100 a week. Okay. So by Friday, while all your competitors are eating nachos, I have made 100 dyno pulls on the SF1. So those guys and girls back there that put in the work are what makes that thing run. But when you talk about getting where we were and where we're at, man, it seems like 3 lifetimes ago. I mean, it really does. Did you see the throwback post I posted with the orange car this week?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's been 20 years, but it seems like 100.
It does.
Sometimes I look around and we think, okay, like I always feel like we're behind, and I look around and I'm looking at 12 race teams worth of shit out my window, and I'm like, we're doing okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of those teams, I mean, you've got guys, the alliance with the team Shelton. You got some other guys, like you said, sold a bunch of these.
Sydney Frigo.
And more to come that I'm sure you got in your pocket that's going to be coming down the pipeline. But you really have kind of paced the screw blower combination since that Indy deal in NHRA. Now it's carried over to our deal in the Winter Series. Just, obviously all the work you've put into it, but it's been a little bit of a paradigm shift because now you're leading that pack. What's it been like kind of having that bullseye on your back? And then, we did a small rule change this week that we're hearing all about. And a lot of those guys will turn around and point to you and go, look at what Stevie's doing. However, you're kind of, you've put a little gap between you and all the rest of your like combination. And how has that been compared to how you've raced our series over the last couple of years?
You're going to get Stevie Jackson. You're going to get Stevie Fast out of the business owner. You keep talking like that. Yeah, and I know that's what you want to do.
That's what we want to do.
So we've had the dominant screw combination since before the SF1. We had the quickest and fastest screw blower at World Series of Pro Mod in 2025, and that was with our 4.8. What we decided at the end of that race is that the durability of it just couldn't equal the SF1. So I'm used to having a target on my back. I've had a target on my back since before I drove the Matco truck. So I'm used to that. But the people that do not see the work that we put into it cannot understand how many hours and how much money I have in that platform. I spent $1 million on that platform before we started the first one. It's the most powerful blown alcohol engine in the world. It is the most durable. And when we talk about parity, this is going to sound like I'm being a dick, but I told this to Wes the other day. If you make my combination the 0 mark on the screw blower, all those other 50 cars that are in the back, they don't even need to show up. It sounds arrogant, but I'm supposed to have the quickest screw blower car. I got what I believe to be the best Pro Mod crew chief in the world working on it. He gets the credit. I just drive the thing, right? Jeff Pierce wins everywhere he goes. He holds records everywhere he goes. I've had some really good crew chiefs in my life. I've had Billy Stockland. I've had Jeff Pierce. If I ever get those two guys together, everyone can quit. I'm serious. But, when you talk about all the whining, I read all the whining this week, and I love it. Just keep on rowing it in there. How many dyno pulls did those guys make this week? How many test runs did they make? You realize I made 1,000 runs down the track last year, company-wide, with my customers. I have 1,000 runs of screw blower data and 475 dyno pulls last year. Okay. How can I not outrun some of these guys by a little bit? We're not talking about a lot. We're talking about a hundo. We're talking about 8,000, 9,000. Yeah. We're not talking about I got them smashed. So I don't want to be compared to the rest of them guys because I don't think I should be. And that sounds arrogant, but we put in a lot of work. There's 17 guys out there right now that their whole goal is to win races. We don't have another business. Our business isn't concrete or putting up bridges or making product or agricultural equipment. We race cars. And I feel like that we should run at the front.
I tell you what, man. I mean, I honestly
mic drop, but yeah, Blake's will need to just cut that whole piece out right there.
Yeah, that's going to get
that's one clip right there.
That's going to get me killed.
That's definitely getting clipped. But I think there's some truth to that, man, because I have that conversation a lot too. Is like drag racing is how we feed our family. Like there's no wealth here. There's no, Mike and I's dads aren't rich. Like this is literally what we do to feed our family. And so we look at it through a considerably different lens than most of our contemporaries who are doing this as a hobby or as a side hustle or something they're do for fun. We love what we do and we have fun doing it, or we won't do it. But we've got to make it work. It's got to math every step of the way because it's a business, and we've got to treat it like a business, not a church, because that's not what we're doing. Right. And I think that I'm curious, do you think that did you ever anticipate or foresee Pro Mod reaching this level of competitiveness? Because I would argue that, are there that many, that's the things you're talking about, that amount of runs, that amount of testing, that amount of dyno pulls, historically, that has been pro stock territory, or, no Top Fuel or Funny Car team is making that kind of runs. So are you at all surprised by the level to which this brand of drag racing has reached?
When I realized that we were lazy and that when I realized that we were not racing correctly is when I went to a test session and watched Frank Manzo and Mike Castellana spend 2 days practicing pedaling the car. I remember about it. That's been 3 or 4 years ago. I told my guys, we are not professional drag racers. We don't need to call ourselves that because these guys are out here wasting 15 runs learning how to pedal it. And if you look at Mike Castellana, he can pedal one better than anybody.
They had a cone out on the track, right? If I remember that correctly at Indy, they had a cone out on the track, which was, they were challenging Mike to pedal it at specific times. Yeah.
Yep. And when you talk about the Pro Mod being where it's at, I've always thought that we had something special. I poured all of my eggs into this Pro Mod basket. I want to be remembered in drag racing for being the best Pro Mod racer of all time. And I'm not now, but I want to be. That's the legacy that I want to get to. I think that Pro Mod has more eyes on it. You're going to see more fuel teams step down this year or step up is what I'm calling it and get in Pro Mod. You've got Top Fuel drivers that are
clip that shit too, Blake.
Right?
Yeah.
There are, if you knew how many Top Fuel and Funny Car drivers I've asked would drive one of our cars and how many would say yes, there's about 3 of them that said they would try it. And there's about 40 of them that said no chance in hell.
Yeah.
So these things are awesome. They're unpredictable. The fans love them. They're the entire package of drag racing. It's got passion. It's got roughnecks. It's got stupid people like me that blow all their money trying to go fast. It's got trillionaires and millionaires and billionaires. It's got great drivers, the most elite drivers in the world per capita are in Pro Mod. When you look at Jason Harris, I'm trying to get good as him on the starting line. I'm a little better over the last 2 averages, but if you look at the last 5 years, that joker's lights out. So when you're looking at elite race car drivers, that's why Pro Mod is so exciting. You got great people. It's easier to get funding in Pro Mod. I still want to go Top Fuel racing, right? You know how many people tell me no to go Top Fuel racing? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. You know how many people I call that say I want to go Pro Mod racing, and they're like, yes, we want to be part of it. We don't have $1 million. Here's 20,000. Here's 50,000. Here's 100,000. Pro Mod right now is where it's at. As hot as it's ever been. I can already consider it a professional category. If what I do here is not a profession, then there's no way to be professional about it. I watch all those pro stock teams put in that effort. I watch them go scuff tires. I watch them test. And we've modeled a lot of our team after that because those guys and gals get it, son. And it's pretty cool watching it explode the way that it is right now.
Well, yeah, Stevie's on the chip today. I'm here for it, dude. You got into some of Wes's stuff.
I read all that whining ass shit on the internet yesterday, and I didn't even sleep last night. Spreadsheets, splits, and bullshit.
Dude, and it's also one of the conversations I had is for all, we're so stupid. I get it. Right. But we've also, this is the same group of people that 6 races in a row have produced the most competitive environment that has ever existed in Pro Modified. The closest fields, the quickest bumps, the most parity that has ever been seen in the history of Pro Modified drag racing, a class that's been around for 40 years. So bear with us, you know what I mean? And sometimes you can't make wholesale changes, you know what I mean? You've got to get it over the course of time, but I'm really happy.
And a lot of that though goes to, we've said this, like you're just talking about, the caliber racers and the teams that are competing in this series. It just, that elevates everything and makes that show that much better. Is that why? I mean, we talked about, you've been to our races since they were in Denver, towed all the way out there, participate in the burnout contest, all the crazy shit we come up with doing. And then it's been a challenge. Even the race in Orlando, you came there, and it's been a a monkey on your back, so to speak, to win one of these. You got this close last year to World Series of Pro Mod, and now you've got the US Street win. That's kind of off your back. Now we're heading again into World Series of Pro Mod. Just talk about what that's been like to finally break through to get this win, and then this momentum that you've got going into this race. Because as big as US Street was, I know you want to win the World Series of Pro Mod and possibly this championship.
I'm going to win the World Series of Pro Mod. I'm not going there to try to win it. So this deal that we have is so hard. I'll give you an example. So I've won Snowbirds 2 or 3 times in Pro Mod, every time in drag radial I think I've ever been. I've won US Street in radial. I've won World Street in Pro Mod in both. When you put it in the winter series, it's impossible to win. I mean, how many times have we had guys double up, right? Has anybody ever doubled up back?
Never once. No one's ever won any of our races twice.
Right. And that's not because these aren't great competitors. It's because it's so freaking hard. You have to be perfect. When you talk about wanting to be elite level, I'm very fortunate. Every one of our cars is qualified for every one of these races that we've entered. And that's a huge feat. Like, we talk about that in our team meetings. It used to be, hey, did we win this week? We have a 300, we call it a 360 debrief we do on Monday after every single event. And that's the topic. Hey guys, all the cars we drug there in Pro Mod qualified. And that's the big deal. I don't think for the last 2 years I've been a good race car driver. So, like, when I left World Series of Pro Mod and lost by 1,000 last year, I decided that I'm going to, if I'm going to do this, I've got to be a better race car driver. I have to drive the car again, because the days of coming to the World Series of Pro Mod and going 40 or 30 or 20 and winning, you're not doing it. You might get around, but you're not getting 5. So I've put in a lot of work over the last year to try to be a better race car driver. There's a full-size Christmas tree and steering wheel outside my office. I hit the tree 100 times a day, 7 days a week, and average it every single day. And I have since World Series of Pro Mod in 2025. Wow. That's wanting to win, right? But that's what it takes at this level. You got 50 or 60 people that can really get down. You got 80 good cars, but you got 50 people. You had, I think, 10 or 11 world championships winning drivers from other sanctioning bodies that didn't qualify for this race. So it's surreal just to be able to be there, to be able to race on it. Doug Cook, this guy right here, is who brought me back from the dead. I was completely happy to retire from drag racing. I wanted to quit racing and build motors. I did. I was like, I'm tired of being in the car. I've been in the car for 30 years. It's never going to happen. And Doug Cook called me and he's like, I'm bringing you back from the dead. We're going racing. He ruined my life. And now he was right. And we're having a good time.
What was it like beyond what else goes in? Because one of the things, like you mentioned Jeff Pierce earlier, who's someone I've literally known since we were little kids at Rogersville, Missouri, helping our dads go race together. He has bringing in some of that other talent so that you're able to focus on driving and not have to spend so much time. Like most of the time when I would see you at Lights Out or see you at a PDRA race or at an ADRL race back in the day or whatever, you're grinding on the laptop, you're trying to work on motors, doing parts swaps. Like, has that team that you've put around you really given you the pathway to be able to focus on driving?
It's the only way to do it right now in our environment. Now, I love tuning race cars. Y'all have heard me say I like tuning them more than driving them, and I'm really good at it, but I'm not good as that guy. And at this level, if you are not the best and you have access to the best and you still do it because your ego, you're a fool. If there was somebody I thought could drive the car better, they'd be in the car. I mean, I have no ego. We want to win. Having the people around you, my mouth has cost me more quality crew guys and tuners in my lifetime than anything, because like Jeff Pierce don't like it that I grudge race everybody all the time at your races. He's like, hey, idiot, we could be the second to last car, and now you're putting us 3 hours into the heat, 2 races in a row for Q1. Stop doing that. But he also understands how important being Stevie fast in the car and people like me is to the sport. I mean, it gets a lot of attention. Having somebody that's okay with me being a dumbass is a huge thing. Having people working on the car that are great at it is the only way to win in this environment. I mean, there are people that still tune and drive, and they're great at it. And I still, like at this last race, we had 9 cars. I was running 4 or 5 cars, but nothing else in Pro Mod. Because when you bring the big cars around, when the big boys are coming to the starting line, you got to be focused. You have to be focused. Could not do it without these guys. Would not do it. Would not want to do it. I'm not good enough to do it.
I'm glad. I love seeing that you have that supporting cast at this point in time that allows you to get us to see the Stevie Fast that we've all come to know and love. Like, let's talk fans. Like, one thing I want to say is that, like, we appreciate you being willing to stick your neck out and say the things that you do and do the grudge races, because I feel like we've got an equally yoked partner in you. Like, you're someone that is helping us. You're a part of the solution, right? Like, how do we get more people involved in what we're doing? How do we get more people to care? It's not talk about fucking torque converters. It's not talking about gear ratios that nobody knows, the casual fan could care less about. That's preaching to the choir. We've got to go expose our sport to new folks and casual fence riding fans, and it's the personalities that bridge that gap. And you sticking, putting yourself out there the way you do is a huge help to us. What have you, I don't know if I was even surprised by the crowd we had at US Street Nationals. I didn't think we could one up Snowbirds. I thought, okay, we had the biggest Snowbirds of all time. US Street is still in its growing process. That event we dug almost 200% growth, almost 187% from 23 to 24. Or excuse me, 24 to 25. We saw continued growth this year, which we didn't know if we would see. Like, tell us about the Fanfare. And I see you taking pictures with fans. I see you piling kids in the car. Like, are you even, the Fanfare seems to be at an all-time high for pro modified drag racing. Like, people genuinely care about you guys. And I don't know that they're that married to the cars. Like, you're one of the guys that have a car that's part of the story, right? Shadow. But a lot of these guys are driving something different all the time. We've made it about the people as much as we possibly can. Like, how have you received that, and what's your vantage point on the fan base that exists in Pro Mod right now?
So what I love about Pro Mod fans is they're the most engaged group of people that we have in motorsports. And I've said this a long time. The fans are the boss. You'll never see me ever turn down an autograph request or a picture request. Last race, they're waiting for me in the finals to run the final in the lanes. And some fans, they had some fun drinks all day, and they were very, very enthusiastic to be there. Yeah. And they wanted to hug me and take pictures. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to miss the final. I stop and talk to those people because the fans are the boss. They buy the tickets. They buy the equipment that we have in the car. They support our sponsors. Fans are the boss. When it comes to personalities, the only way to take drag racing to the next level is to stop focusing on race cars and start focusing on people. The guys and gals that drive these things are superstars, and we have to make them superstars. They already are that. We just have to show the people who they are. On the racer front, we need more people that are okay looking like a dumbass. We need more people that when you go take your Pro Mod and crash it into a Crown Vic, you can laugh about it because it was stupid. You shouldn't have did it. Don't get upset when people talk trash to you. I did something dumb, and I think it's funny, and you got to have thinner skin. There's a lot of guys and girls that could be elite in this if they could just be okay looking like a dumbass. Every one of our fans at some point in their time is a dumbass. That's human nature. We all do very stupid things. Sometimes I say things, when I hear myself say it again, I'm like, oh my God, that's going to cost me some sponsorship dollars.
Yeah.
But it's taken 25 years to get sponsors around me. Every sponsor that I have right now, number one item in my contract is that I have to be Stevie Fast. If I start saying politically crap stuff, I want to thank the guys and the team and they will fire me. And it's because they understand where we're going. We just got to light a match under some of these folks. I know they're thinking it. I know they want to say it. We just got to nudge them a little bit.
I couldn't agree more. And that has been our modus operandi since day one. I mean, that's why we've put a human face on the cover of Drag Illustrated for 199 straight issues. It's not about, Rolling Stone doesn't put guitars and microphones on the cover. They put the people that play them and use them on the cover, right? I mean, it's like, we've got to celebrate the men and women that make this sport possible and make it special. And I was actually getting accosted by some really also equally lubricated fans Sunday afternoon at the U.S. Street Nationals, and they were saying all the cars look the same. We need someone to bring out a Chevy Astro van, and I'm like, listen, the cars don't matter. I don't care what Stevie drives. I don't care what Sean Ellington is named after a flat black Nova, but he drives a blue. It doesn't matter. It's about the people, right?
And he had just as many fans at this race as when he was driving the Nova. I was parked
100%.
behind him. He had 10 times more fans than we did there.
It's crazy.
And the emotion on his face when he got that interview with Kayla that he made the field, that was like seeing that and what that meant to him, a guy that's had the success he had with the following and everything. That just shows how important this is to, not only dyed in the wool promo guys like you, but crossover stars that we've had come over to see that. I mean, it kind of reinforces exactly what you're saying, that this is how tight this is, how important it is. And we've gotten fortunate having those personalities, having winners like Jason Harris, even guys that are off the map like Steve King. No one really had talked to Steve King, knew who he was, but then look at the star he's become since he won World Series last year, and to see that kind of growth, it's a jumping off moment if you let it. Like what you're saying, you got to be okay with it, and you got to take that and run with it instead of just kind of falling back in, to the same, I'm racing the racetrack and good luck to the other team, all that. Nobody wants to hear that.
No, they want to hear I'm going to cut your head off. Look at the amount of pro drivers, elite drivers we had entered in this past race. You had Dallas Glenn driving a pro mod, one of my favorite pro stock racers, one of the best guys to ever do it. Excited. Have you watched his social media the last 2-3 weeks? It's all pro mod.
It's been popping off too.
We got some new Top Fuel drivers coming in to run some pro mod. We got pro mods where it's at, man. And we're going to get those few sparking rivalries going. Like, one thing about pro mod that is difficult is we all really respect each other. Like, we might not like each other, but it's just like I said in my interview after I ran Murder Nova and beat him. There's Stevie Fast that talks shit in the car. There's Steve Jackson, a business owner. If you qualified at one of these races, you have my respect. I don't care if I like you or not. I don't care if we want to roll around the parking lot. You're a badass. You're a great driver, and you got a great team.
There's no doubt. I mean, you can't take anything away from anybody. I mean, from 1 to 64 was a tenth. I mean, that is something that was historically reserved for NHRA Pro Stock 1 through 16, and now we're seeing it across 64 cars. I mean, like you said, there's 50 cars on the property that can go low at any given moment. And I am curious, like, as you've seen and started to cross paths with some of these guys, you've raced in a lot of different arenas, but what have you made? I mean, it's obviously was a huge story, the Sesame Street Outlaws and all the trash talk, which we all loved. And I know that people get in their feelings about it, but I'm curious if you could just, like, a lot of those guys, as I've gotten to know Sean Ellington, Kai Kelly, Robin Roberts, Scott Taylor, Callie Mills, like, there's some really great people and really good racers that probably just weren't getting their due because they were racing on television.
Yeah, I think that including me, there's a lot of us that discounted those guys and girls because of where they were racing. And if you look to the bottom of it, most of it's probably because we were jealous that they were getting more attention than us, and we didn't think that they were as good as us, right? So we talk trash about them, and a lot of it on my end is just to build rivalry.
Yeah, it's
heard me 100% of the time. I don't care if fans like me or hate me. I just want them to buy a ticket. You can come in to watch Stevie fail and just keep on screaming at me, and the amount of shits that I give is absolutely zero. It's not the opinion that I have of myself, so you can't change that. But when you watch those guys and girls come over and have success where we're running, and you see them do it. When I got beat by Kai Kelly, the world ended for me. I mean, I still haven't recovered. Since then, I've beat him 3 times. I've beat all the other casts of the Street Outlaws. I have beat over and over and over. But all I hear about is that I lost to Kai Kelly one time. So, but seeing those, you really don't know how good people are until they step out of their shell and they get the right tools to compete. And any of those guys and girls, I don't want to race them. Like, I didn't want to race Murder Nova. I didn't want to race Kai again. I don't want to race Jimmy Taylor. Like, I don't want to race any of them people. We do it and we will, but they're very good at what they do.
Do you think there's a chance we'll see you run it back with Vic sometime, Victor Alvarez sometime in 2026, or do you think that ship has sailed?
I beat that man like a dog so bad twice. I don't know that I need to. It's like boxing. He's got to go fight some middleweights and try to win some round somewhere before he can come race the baddest door car in the world again. Because I stomped his ass the first time and I really stomped his ass the second time. So, Jeff Pierce has already mandated no grudge racing for World Series of Pro Mod. We're going to get the trophy. We'll grudge race at the next one. So
it sounds like a plan to me. We had to rein in the grudge racing because there was some gamesmanship bullshit going on, and
we had to put some rules in place.
Yeah, Saturday, I bet I had 15 teams reaching out to me about
all
grudge. Hey, can I grudge race so and so? And I'm like, no, this shit's over.
We're like, that ain't a rivalry.
This shit's over.
Deal. It needs to be announced before the race. We all know the fake stuff versus the real deal.
I heard some matchups getting thrown at me, and I'm like, that's not a rivalry. That's like,
if I come up and say, hey, me and Sydney are grudge racing, we need to
exactly. Yeah. Right? Hey, Sydney and I got to settle something, and we got to settle it on the racetrack.
Man. We got some beef. We noticed that it's going to be 60 degrees in 2 hours. We go ahead and sneak that thing back on up in there. Get that
the comments want to know your Mount Rushmore of Pro Mod. This is something that we've done a lot over the years. Mike and I have put ours out there, and mine kind of is ever changing because I love everybody. But we're going to put you on the spot. 4 guys, your Mount Rushmore of pro modified drag racing. Stevie Jackson.
Right now? Mount Rushmore of the 4 best?
No, in the history of Pro Mod.
In the history of Pro Mod, and then we could maybe do a modern if you want, if you've got that time. But let's do an all-time.
All-time Pro Mod, you have to eliminate all of us candy asses that drive a car without a clutch. You've got, you've got, golly. You got to have Mike Ashley in there. You got to have Scotty Cannon in there. Oh man, I mean, you could go back and there's 100 of them that are my heroes. I mean, you got to have Annette Summer in there, the first real lady of Pro Mod. I mean,
I said he's gonna have Scotty. He might throw Annette in there, so you hit 2 boxes.
Yeah, and then you got to put in. I mean, it's hard to say that you got to include Shannon Jenkins in there. I mean, the original nitrous guy. When a clutch was there, he was the man. I mean, and there's like 50 of my heroes that I'm leaving out, but all of those folks back in the day when racing was racing and you had to work on the car, drive the truck and drive it, they'll skin you up.
No doubt.
It's a hard one. Doing an all-time Pro Mod Mount Rushmore is hard as hell.
You got to have like 17 heads on it.
Yeah,
give us your modern era.
Your modern current competing Pro Mod Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore, including me or no?
You can include yourself. I'd be disappointed if you didn't include yourself.
If you don't include yourself, we're not going to be able to clip this.
You got to have Jason Harris, very dominant on all levels. I would put me in there. And then after that, you got to look at the guys that are always and the ladies that are always in the last 4 rounds. I think right now you got to have Todd Tutterow in there because there's nobody that can come up and get a 008 or 9. He can be 30 or 40 all the time. When he runs you, he's going to be good, and they make big power. And, man, shit, I don't want to race any of them guys and gals. For 4, you got to say – man, I don't know, because no matter what you say, you're leaving 50 people.
Yeah, you are. It's hard. It's painfully hard.
I'm going to say one of the most underrated Pro Mod drivers we have right now is Melanie. I think that – they go rounds, they win, they run good, they work hard, they have a rock star team around them. I think you got to put her somewhere up there too.
I felt like that was coming because you said guys and gals. I was like, I see.
Lead in. But there's 40 other people. I don't want to race Ty Tutterow either. I don't want to race. I mean, there's 20 or 30 people that if I draw them in that chip draw, I mean, I don't want to race Mark Mickey. I don't want to race Ken Cartuccio. I don't want to race Justin Bond. I don't want to run any of those guys and gals. I don't want to run Sydney for sure because he's got power dust. I don't want to run Stan Shelton because he's 009 all the time. There's 50. It's really unfair to narrow it down to 4.
All right, so this is your
average top 10.
So that's your like respect Mount Rushmore. All right, give us the one person, guy or gal, that
I'm not doing it.
You just want to stomp. Like you respect them. They're a good racer, or maybe not. But you like this is the person that you want to put on the trailer more than anybody.
See, that's seasonal because, like, after I beat your ass, I forget about you. Like, you always see me talk shit before the race. How many times you ever seen me dog somebody in the ground on a top-end interview after I race them? Not one time. Because
so
they got the stones
it's situational, is what you're saying. It's
they
situational.
have the stones to sit there, and all them other people don't. So, like, when I go crush Jimmy Taylor, like, I picked on the baddest door car in the world and grudge raced him and beat him. So I can't be scared. But it's seasonal. Right now, the person that I probably want to just destroy the most would be probably Vic. And it's not because I don't like him. Me and Vic are friends. I support the series. I love their racetrack. But I want to crush him. And then you got to put Jason Lee in there too as an alternate just because of the amount of whining that's going on.
Damn.
I love it, man. I'm here for it. Well, I'm hoping that the good Lord and the racing gods bless us with a couple of those matchups at the World Series of Pro Mod. Man, Stevie, thank you so much.
You're going to get them. You can't have this much people that are good at it and not get 20 rounds of badass racing. You can't do it.
It's insane, dude. I was actually doing some ideaing last night, and I'm like, okay, we've got to winning a round at this race matters. Like, is such an accomplishment. Like, if you win first round, your matchup, and then you're done. That is something you can hang your hat on for the rest of your drag racing career. Like, you're never going to go anywhere else and run this many badasses ever. So we've got to find more and more ways. If I can get this Amazon Prime deal, if I can get them to stroke a check, we're going to change the game.
Dude, that was the real deal. I had a lot of people that responded to that. That like that. And the old rivalries still breed this. Like, if Keith Haney could ever get a little taller and qualify, I would love to race him. I would stalk him until he quits. And that's what people want to see.
They do.
But yeah, the Amazon deal is great. Any media exposure that we can get, we all have to row the boat together. Dollars and cents is what runs these cars. And the way you get dollars and cents is by exposing people to what Pro Mod already is, and it is the most exciting form of motorsports in the world. And all we have to do with these companies is show it to them. I did a presentation this week and showed it to them, and they were blown away. They said, we've never seen anything like this. This is like, they're like, how can we be part of this? And I'm like, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna get it out. I'm gonna show you.
I'm gonna show you.
But the environment and ability to get money to do what we do has never been easier than what it is right now. The opportunity to run at a pro level and get manufacturer support has never been as good. I don't want to hear people talking about the good old days. You can get people want to be part of this movement. And if you go out and work, you can get money to do this. I have got paid to race cars for the last 20 years, and I'm a dumbass. So, like, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Go get you some cheese, get you a sponsorship deck, come out and race with us. We want to see you at the World Series Pro Mod.
Man, we appreciate you, Stevie. We can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks. Get back to the dyno.
I'm fixing to go rip it.
All right, go rip it.
What 11,500 sounds like, baby.
All right, let us know. Send me a video. Thank you, Stevie. Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you.
See you, man.
Stevie Jackson, ladies and gentlemen. You never got to worry about a dull interview with that old boy.
Well, that didn't disappoint.
No, that didn't disappoint.
That's Blake. You better get started on the clips right now. You got a lot of work to do because
you do.
If whoever didn't join that live, that's going to have the internet lit up for the next week at least. And how about Stevie? Dude, I was thinking about. I'm like, this is a lot of the same stuff that you say, that we say, or whatever, but man, he is preaching the gospel of Pro Mod, right? We feel like sometimes we're alone on that, and that, or that we see it differently, and we're having to fight this uphill battle. But he's got it down pat, man. He's selling it, and so
do you remember
to have him be an ambassador, going to these companies, and now he's got like this professional aspect, and he's invested as a business in this, and that's a big deal, man. So, it really cool to see like the evolution of Stevie over the years.
It is, man. And I'll tell you this, like, I took a bunch of shit last year at the World Series of Pro Mod when I believe Brian Lones or Al Tucci was interviewing me in the tower. And I said that I believe Pro Modified was now the highest level of drag racing. And while I do believe that our roots are grassroots, while I do believe that this is the highest level of grassroots motorsports, I truly believe that this is the hottest space that exists in drag racing. And I think it's there's a significant margin. I really do. Just the level of competition, the interest around the globe, not regionally, not locally, not just nationally, but globally. We've never seen really anything like this, man. And to have someone like Stevie, preaching, like you said, it's pretty surreal to hear that. And I'm fired up. Like if World Series was started tomorrow, I'm ready, dude. This deal's about to be a 5-alarm fire. I want to take
everybody's ready.
Second.
It's going to be hard to contain this for 3 weeks, man.
It is, man. Let me take a quick second and remind you guys that each and every episode of the Wes Buck Show is brought to you by REDLINE synthetic oils, formulated to win, proven by racers like you. We're talking about a brand trusted by the best in the business: Ty Tedero, Steve Torrance, Callie Mills, Spencer Hyde, Scott Palmer, Tommy Franklin. The list goes on. These are not just weekend warriors. These are champions, killers, and contenders who rely on REDLINE oil to get it done. Check out their full product lineup at redlineoil.com. Mike, let's dive in. I had a handful of questions that we were getting, and then we'll wrap this thing up for the day. Again, thank you guys all for being a part of our weekly drag racing conversation. Remember to click subscribe, take a few seconds, do us a solid. I appreciate it. I'll high five you when I see you in public and tell you thanks. But I had 3 questions, and Mike and we can kind of tag team these for our little Ask Wes segment of the show.
Quick hitters.
How to make turbos competitive. We believe turbo cars. We believe turbo cars are competitive. Obviously, the number 1 qualifier at the last race was a turbo car, 355 with a 5 or a 4. Actually, Jimmy Taylor, the baddest turbo pro mod car on the planet Earth right now. We saw Mark Mickey struggle. Obviously, that was correlated to a chassis problem, which they have since sorted. But nonetheless, I think what we see is a real difficulty of raceability. Mike, I think you'd echo those sentiments. There's no lack of power. There is a unique challenge that exists with those cars when it comes to ever-changing race day conditions. The answer is probably smaller turbos, less power, and a lighter weight. But that is not something that can be done overnight. That is something that would likely take us a year to execute, because you're talking about constant back and forth with multiple manufacturers of turbos. You're talking about extended periods of testing. We're going to have to send teams to the track, test smaller turbos, and see what we have to do. But we basically got to find a way to create a platform for the turbo cars that allow them to run at a lighter weight. But right now, with the 88 millimeter twin turbos, they make so much power, which is evidenced by the 220 plus mile an hour trap speeds we routinely see out of those cars. We've got to narrow that gap. So that is something that is on our mind, because we want to see the eclectic mix of combinations. Like, one of the things that we make that we feel adds to the special thing that's happening with Pro Modified right now is the multitude of combinations: screw blowers, centrifugal superchargers, turbochargers, nitrous cars. We saw Jim Halsey. I mean, he fell early, went out in E1, but nonetheless qualified for the quickest field in the history of Pro Modified drag racing. If he can do it, I would argue that there are other nitrous racers can do it, but you're never going to do it if you don't try. We've obviously, we continue to work with our nitrous teams. We continue to work with our turbo teams to try to find pathways to bring everybody into, this is what we want. We want them all there.
We want them all there. And we've seen a massive shift to centrifugal superchargers across the board from all the other combinations to that combination. And so these things ebb and flow. So we're definitely going to work on trying to, stem that and make it so these other, combinations don't feel like they have to go that route, because no one wants to see all the same cars, all the same combination. So it's definitely something to work on. But like you said, something we can't do right away. So I think the next year, or the rules going into Snowbirds next year, could look dramatically different than they do now, but it's going to take between now and then to get that done.
Yeah, absolutely. The second question I saw was, is it problematic that the track conditions change so much during sessions? And I would actually say no. I think that you're rewarded based on how you ran. You're rewarded based on how you ran throughout the weekend, and that's determines where you're at in the run order. So I feel like it's kind of just part of the battle. Like I know that it's probably not a direct comparison, but I think about fast greens at a golf course, or putting it in the rough, or it rained yesterday, so it's a different course than you played on. I think that's part of the challenge, and that's why we bring in the best racers in the world, because I point to that final round of qualifying. For me, I felt a legitimate drag racing moment when Mike Bowman and then Erica Enders both bumped into the field at about high noon. It was actually about 11:08 Eastern Standard Time. The worst conditions, that we had seen up until that point. The sun was blazing. The start of the session, we had we had overcast skies, and it was much more favorable. By the second half of the session, conditions had changed dramatically. And what did they do? They adapted, they adjusted, they overcame, and they qualified for the quickest field in pro modified history. So I think, to me, it's part of the story. If we went up there and it was perfect every single time and the air was perfect every single time, it closes the door for some of those underdog stories or from those come out of left field stories. So personally, I think track conditions, good or bad, are part of the story, and it's something that we need to embrace. Like, obviously, we want the track to be as good as we can possibly make it every single time. We want to give these guys and gals the best racetrack we can give them. We try to make schedule adjustments as we need to make sure that we're not, sending guys out to race in extremely problematic times of the day. But we also got to be professionals, as Stevie was talking about earlier. Like, we're never going to get the Fox TV deal. We're never going to get the ESPN deal. We're never going to get the Amazon Prime deal if we call our television partners and say, hey, I know you've got 1 million people watching their TV waiting for Pro Mod to run, but we push this schedule, we push this round back 2 hours to give our racers more favorable conditions. That's not the answer. So there's a little give and take. We've learned that by watching the NHRA and their live television operation. I mean, when they've got a window to operate in, by God, you've got to operate in that window. And we want to be acting as if we have a network television partner, because we want to be prepared for that moment when it arrives, and we're not scrambling to figure out how to do it. So while it certainly is a challenge, and it's obviously not ideal for some of the racers, depending on how they've ran throughout the weekend, I think it's part of the story. Mike?
You said it, man. And It's impossible to run pro mods any quicker than we run them. We run 80 cars in under 2 hours, and I just don't know what else you do. I mean, in a lot of times, in a lot of series, it takes 4 hours to run 80 pro mods. And so we minimize the shift.
Well, no one's ever tried to run 80 pro mods. It's never been done before.
I'm just saying, if they were going to run 80, and that's just, like you said, part of the story, adapting to the different conditions. And there's really, truly no way to tighten that spread between the first pair out and the last pair more than we do now.
100%. The last question that I saw was, how about Spencer Hyde going trip zip in his first pass back in a pro mod car after a full season in funny car? Will he be racing for Jim Head Racing next year? And 100% big fan of Spencer being back in a pro mod. We were actually losing sleep over potentially losing him to funny car. I'm so proud of that young man and all that he's accomplished, but Pro Mod is his home. I love seeing him getting the opportunity that he's getting in Nitro Funny Car, and I love to see that continue for years and years to come. But I wouldn't be surprised to see his focus change at some point in time, based on comments like Stevie Jackson was just making about the energy and enthusiasm that surrounds pro modified drag racing right now. But by all accounts, he will be back behind the wheel of Jim Head Racing's Funny Car in 2026 in the NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series, and we cannot wait to see him go out there and hopefully secure his first ever NHRA Wally. So last question, Mike, we got here from Andy Jackson, 2269 on YouTube. Appreciate you, brother. Hey, Wes, any reason why the World Series of Pro Mod only runs until Saturday, under like the two previous events ending on Sunday? Yes, that's basically Wes's personal preference. I believe the race ending on Saturday night under the lights with the stands packed full of people is just the way it should be.
Well, it's not just your personal preference. It's actually, I believe, the preference of the vast majority of these guys that race. And then we even got that feedback because we had to adjust the schedule for snowbirds and ended up running eliminations on Saturday, that was much preferred. And it really, there is another energy that comes. Not only, obviously, the conditions are better, you can run into the night, all these things, but you do have a much bigger crowd there on Saturday, and running and racing the most important rounds of the event in front of that crowd makes a difference. And these guys felt it, the energy on Saturday night at the Snowbird. So we've always done that, and that's always been the thing for World Series, and because it replicates a Saturday night quick gate shootout, which is kind of a big version of a real down and dirty Saturday night quick gate pro mod shootout. is the genesis behind the World Series of Pro Mod. So that's a big reason why we do it.
100%. And for us, I mean, obviously we have a lot of respect for the events that Bradenton has built over the course of the last, Snowbird Outlaw Nationals in its 55th year, I believe. That event has historically been a Friday, Saturday, Sunday endeavor. US Street Nationals has historically been a Friday, Saturday, Sunday endeavor. US Street Nationals is a unique monster, a unique beast in that we have so many race cars on the property. When you have the Radial Tire Outlaw Series, you've got the Winter Series and all the classes that we have, you bring them all together. I believe we had over a dozen classes at that event, 350 plus race cars on the property. Trying to cram it into 3 days would be a real challenge. But I will tell you that those are conversations that are happening behind the scenes, because to Mike's point, I want to see it happening on a Saturday night. I like the prize fight energy. UFC fights happen on Saturday nights. Pay-per-view boxing fights happen on Saturday nights. To me, and it also goes back to knowing our customer. Like our race teams, our partners in this whole deal, many of them run businesses. Many of them have, things to do. And we love giving them Sunday, for a rain day. It's very great for the event as a whole, just as a safety net. But secondarily, giving them a full day to get home, to get back to their normal life and kind of get back into their regular routine before they're out the door for the next drag race. So our goal, World Series will likely stay a Saturday night endeavor for forever. And we're working hard on maybe bringing that strategy to the first two races of the season.
Some of that also is weather. Weather at Snowbirds and especially at US Street can be dicey, and you try to minimize the amount of time that you race after dark. It didn't affect us this year because it was abnormally hot at US Street. But the year before that, it was like 50 degrees for a high. So that comes into consideration also. So if you spread it across another day that you can race when the sun's out, then that's the better deal, especially for US Street. So we adjust on the fly. We adjust these schedules. You wouldn't believe, and then maybe if you follow tight enough, you see the schedule changing, but we change the schedule constantly. The week of the event, during the day of event, changes are happening all the time. So it's all about optimizing those things for, like Wes said, the show, the racers, and all these factors. So
and most importantly, our fans. I mean,
Yeah.
we recognize that, it's a big ask to keep a race fan at the track for 10, 12 hours, and as tight as we can make that window. And that's one thing that I get especially excited about with World Series, is that being that we have so many fewer classes, we're able to run with much more, we're able to get our momentum and keep it and maintain that pace throughout the course of the weekend, which is something that you can really only do is if you have a smaller event, like it's in terms of cars. So we're excited to go into this final event of the Drag Illustrated Winter Series presented by J&A Service and be able to kind of really focus in on Pro Mod, Pro 10.5, True 10.5, Lil Gangsters, our handful of sportsman categories and index categories, and call it a day. We love having a concise show that we can get through in a really reasonable amount of time. And that's our goal as we move forward. I truly believe that there has never been a better time in the sport of drag racing than we're in right now. And I feel like we're just getting started, man. I say that a lot, but I mean it, man. We are just getting started. Tip of the iceberg, brother.
Yeah, hell yeah. We saw that today with Stevie too. And like we said, World Series of Pro Mod in 3 weeks. Well, it's 3 weeks from tomorrow, right? Yeah. It starts 3 weeks from tomorrow. So it's going to be an insane 3 weeks around here as we get ready, but the energy is already high. And like Wes said, if it was starting tomorrow, we'd be ready for it. And so it's going to be unlike anything I think we've seen in quite a while.
Yeah, I think we're about to see a legit barn burner, like a pandemonium fire marshal type situation. And I encourage you to be part of the magic, man. These are moments that we'll look back on and be glad that we were there to witness it firsthand. Mike,
thewinnerseries.com. Go there. All the information, schedule, tickets, media, everything you need.
And there are still a limited number of VIP tickets available, which our VIP program has really elevated. This was something that we labored over. If you buy a VIP ticket, you get a free t-shirt, you get meal vouchers throughout the weekend, you get access to a VIP tent, right track side, and you also get free water all weekend. I mean, it's actually a banger of a deal. So anyways, log on to thewinnerseries.com to get your tickets for the World Series of Pro Mod presented by Redline Oil. Mike, thanks a bunch. Blake in the green room, appreciate you, brother. And we'll see you next week right here on the Drag Illustrator YouTube channel, same time, same channel. We'll see you there. We'll see you at the racetrack. Thanks, Mike.
Yep.